Today we are back from Japan and we're digging into all things The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom. We've been playing the game, but has it been meeting our expectations?
Yes, we spent the last week in Japan having a wonderful time.
Sure did.
And we are back as of this past weekend.
Yes.
We've been digging into this big game and
Yeah.
ready to talk about it.
Yeah, we actually got really lucky because the game came out while we were in Japan.
You bought it there.
You
learned Japanese.
I learned Japanese, bought a physical copy, and we have been playing this game a ton. You basically just nonstop on the plane ride back for almost 10 hours played this game. It was incredible. You just sat there, laser focused. It didn't talk to me.
Ignored you.
Didn't move, didn't get out of your seat, didn't go to sleep, didn't do anything, just played Zelda.
I've really learned something. Sleeping on an airplane is really hard for me.
It is very tough.
So I just don't even try. Because I find that when I try, I end up in worse shape. It's like, well, I get this eye shade or some earplugs or something and you get like maybe a quarter of the way asleep and then you're just groggy the rest of the way. It's like, forget it. I'm just going to do this fun thing and I'll have the best night of sleep of my life when I get home.
Just tucker yourself out.
Later.
Yeah, but we were so lucky because it was perfect. We literally picked up the game maybe a day before we were going to leave Japan. So I was popping in a fresh cartridge into my Switch on the plane, and it gave us a ton of time to dig into the game as well. But
that's right.
Yeah,
it is our big return, and it is also a very special thing that's upon us called Shocktober.
All
Are you ready to get shocked? Whoa!
Capital S, Shocktober.
Also OND.
Oh yes, who knows what OND means? Do people know? JFM?
Degenerate salespeople, they know.
Yes. October, November, December. These were
the critical fourth quarter. Business critical.
Exactly.
Are you meeting your objectives? Are you meeting your quotas?
My quota? What kind of quotas do I have?
Is the arrow going up? It better be.
It better be in the green.
Another month in the green. It better
be in the green.
Oh my gosh.
Let me just tell you, if it's in the red, we're going to freak out.
We call it Shocktober because October at Nintendo was legit one of the hardest months of the year. So our thoughts and prayers go out to those good people who are toiling away on great stuff like Mario Party and Sonic the Hedgehog. But
what about bromance?
Yes, that's November. That's the N in OND, you see.
The N, though.
Yes.
But yes, Shocktober is truly upon us. I can't believe that we're in sort of the last few months of the year. This is where
we put up the Happy Holidays channel in our Discord.
Say, the Happy Holidays channel.
Get that Mariah Carey gift going.
Get the gift going. Get your pumpkins ready for the big carving. You always carve a beautiful pumpkin in October for Halloween. That's Nintendo themed. Can't wait to see what you come up with this year, but this is when the calendar goes like this,
really fast.
It starts to just totally speed up. But yeah, we're in it, people.
It means a lot of good games are about to come out. So
That's right.
It's exciting for us.
Yes, exactly.
So we are back from Japan, and you have been toiling away.
I have been toiling.
Editing like a maniac.
In the mind.
And we've already released one great video that hopefully you've all watched. If not, it's out. It's our Tokyo Game Show vlog.
Yes.
Taking you with us to the show, seeing what the show is like, checking out some amazing games that we got to play. We got hooked up.
We really did. We were kind of going into it not really knowing what to expect because it was my first TGS ever. You haven't been since 2008.
Long time.
That's a long time
time.
So it was almost brand new for both of us, but we got to see so many cool games that we were both so excited about. There were some fun, surprising games as well that we got a chance to check out and get hands-on time with. And we got to meet with some great developers from Goodfield that made Bakeru. So it was a grand time all around, and it's all captured in our TGS vlog.
We're going to be talking more about those games in the Games We're Playing section later in this here podcast. Once again, I got hung up trying to get a badge.
Oh,
what's up with that?
International
Why are people out to get me?
Look at your suspicious face.
Why me? Why are people out to get me?
You also did, spoiler for the TGS vlog, Kit was in jail at TGS. In a literal jail cell. Locked up. locked up.
Well, the thing, I mean, so we ran into Jeff Keighley in the Pal World booth, and we were like, look at this. This is funny.
Jeff Keighley also went to jail.
And then Bucky, who's the community manager for Pal World, showed up. He's like, hey, Jeff, I'd love to get a picture of you in jail. And he obliged. And now that picture is out there. Perfect meme material.
It's very memeable.
Yes.
It's very cute. The jail is there for photo ops. You were in it. I refused to get in, but you were in it.
Yes, the booth is long gone, but the jail remains standing.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. Anyways, great things like that. And then, of course, impressions on all the games that we played is in our TGS vlog.
And we have 2 more big vlogs, even bigger than this one, coming soon.
Yes.
Next week, early next week, you can look forward to our Kyoto vlog, where we visit Nintendo headquarters, visit the secret Nintendo hotel.
Yes. We met with some special guests.
We have
friends.
some special guests. You climb a mountain at a shrine and get sweaty out the nose.
I was very sweaty.
As is your style, I've learned.
Very sweaty. It's very hot in Japan still, so you get to be treated to a very glistening me, which is disgusting. So sorry about that.
We also visit the big Nintendo store in Kyoto, the hometown store.
Yeah, the flagship hometown
with the giant Kaiju Mario statue.
That store was amazing, wasn't it? Yeah.
That one's almost done, as I understand it. And then the last one will probably be the week after that will be the Tokyo one, which probably will be the biggest of the 3.
Yeah. The Kyoto vlog runtime is 60 minutes. So it's basically a feature.
It's like a movie.
It's like a feature film of you and I.
Are we eligible for some sort of award?
Major
award?
Give me the Emmy. For all of it.
Emmy-O?
Give me the Emmy. Oh. You just get a paper bag. That's it.
Give me the Emmy, yo.
Best producer, director, actress, supporting actress.
Hey. There might be an Emmy-O cameo in the Kyoto vlog. I'm just going to say, when that goes out,
don't freak out.
Keep your eyes peeled. Because Emmy-O may have been in the neighborhood doing some dirty deeds. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see anything in the moment, but then I looked at the camera like, wait a minute.
What is this?
Emmy-O there? What?
Yeah.
What happened?
If you guys see Emmy-O, you got to put a timestamp in the comments for us.
So we did our last podcast in Japan. That was about halfway through the trip. What was your big highlight of the second half?
The Sonic, the Sega TGS party was... That whole night was kind of ridiculous. Okay, so it started out with us spending the whole day in Akihabara, which was very, very fun. And we did do some vintage game shopping. So we had been out like all day. It had been like raining a bit too. And then we were like, okay, we got to have dinner before this Sega party because you don't want to be hungry at one of those things, right? Yeah. So we were trying to find a place to go to dinner. The first place we went to was like full. And then we were
told to leave several times.
We were like turned away from several.
It was a predecessor to my badge problems.
Yeah, it was either really busy or there was
a lot of this.
Yeah, full. We're full. So we were walking around and trying to find a place. We finally did find a really good yakitori, which is like skewers place. Yes. So we had a great time.
You befriended somebody who was known as Drink-san? Yes.
Drink-san!
And boy, did you ever befriend him, let me tell you.
Oh, wow. Drink-san I think about Drink-san a lot, honestly. I think about him all the time.
Wow.
And then we go to the Sega party, and it was in this like really fancy club in Ginza.
It's like a penthouse bar or something.
Yeah, you get
some skyscraper.
There was
it was like out of a Yakuza game.
It was.
Yeah.
There was like this neon view of like Tokyo in the rain, which is like my favorite thing ever. It's like the best. And this party was like off the hook. Like it had confetti cannons that were like.
This is the first thing you say.
It was like blowing out Yakuza money though. There were these bills that had
pirate Yakuza money. How dare you?
Yeah, had Goro Majima on it as like a bill. It was crazy. There was a great musical performance.
Yes.
And there was, dancing Sonic and Shadow costume characters.
That's
right. The champagne was a flowing, not for us, but for
it wasn't just champagne.
It was Dom Perignon. Many, 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 many hundreds of bottles.
Bottles were popped.
Popping. Off the hook. There were like beautiful guests there, people that
beautiful guests.
People that came to say hi to us.
Oh, that's nice.
That was nice.
Yes.
We met some people. It was great.
How did I get invited to this? I haven't a clue, but I was glad to be there.
I was just like shocked because, I started at Nintendo like kind of past the prime of those big E3 parties.
And Nintendo did used to have those. There was the Maroon 5, the Natasha Bedingfield back when she was hot.
Right. So they used to, and you had talked about.
I'd been to a couple of those.
Like the PlayStation ones that you'd gone to. That
I'd been to one of the Nintendo ones.
Okay. See, so I've never ever been
honestly not as nice as the PlayStation one, but.
Well, PlayStation.
They were trying
They had like so many
They were
connections
going
with the music
crazy.
industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, these kinds of parties just are not deemed appropriate anymore. And obviously, like E3 is gone, so you would never see a party like this again. So it's just like felt like this thing of the industry that I never got to experience, and then like suddenly I was experiencing it in the year 2024 in Tokyo, and
suddenly
it was incredible.
Sega's making it rain.
And suddenly I was in a confetti shower, and I was like, "This is the best night of my life." There's a photo of me.
It's raining Yakuza money.
I was in like
Yakuza Monopoly money.
I was on cloud nine. I was like, "This is it. This is it. This is the height. I'm peaked. This is
that
it.
guy's playing on the sonic guitar.
This is it." It was like a dream. It was so much fun. Oh my gosh.
It was really fun.
Wow.
And then one other thing, our last night, you'll see it in the vlog in great detail. We went to the, again, a lot of secret locales.
Oh.
The secret Nintendo bar in Tokyo.
Yes.
Opened by a former. It was a meeting of former Nintendo employees.
It really was. Yeah.
This guy worked at NCL in the 80s through the 90s.
Right.
And he opened this place, and he's like, "I want this to be a hangout for people in the video game industry.
Yeah.
It's very exclusive. You need a membership to get entry. We had somebody help us get in." And the wall is just covered by all these original pieces of artwork from the people who had been. It's a who's who of Japanese games. We've got Yuji Horii, we've got Junichi Masuda, we got Aonuma, we got Miyamoto, we got everybody. Don't worry, we got them all.
Everybody.
Wow.
Yeah. And not only was it like signed stuff, it was like stuff that these people drew specifically for Chocon, which is the guy that runs the bar.
Right.
And we were lovingly, jokingly saying like, this place is so much better than the Nintendo Museum because it actually has heart and soul to it. Like you can tell that these people, these legendary developers.
Didn't have a Wiimote pillow?
There could eventually be a Wiimote pillow, a little pillow waggle. But like you can just tell like this is just like a love letter to these people and their relationships with each other and their good memories that they've had working together, their shared love of games. Like that was what it felt like in there. And what an amazing thing to be surrounded by that as like also people that share that. It's like a very connective like tissue kind of thing. That was such a special experience. We did walk out of there with memberships. Woo! So we get to go back now. Whenever hopefully we get back to
You paid him that Yakuza pirate money.
You did give him the pirate money. Added to the wall of stuff. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yes.
It truly was. And then of course, like it's a very small place. You kind of end up chatting with people that are also there.
Right.
Some of the people were people that we have been hanging out with during the week anyway, so it was hilarious to just see
you again.
It's like you again.
Yeah.
I didn't just see you yesterday and the day before. So it was fun. It was really, really fun.
All this and more you can look forward to in those vlogs coming real soon.
Yeah.
And see everything that we did in Japan, which is
so
amazing.
Fun. Amazing stuff.
Believe it or not, now that we're in October, Shocktober, it's another spoiler cast. This month's game is The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
Wow.
So, we haven't finished the game yet. We're going to talk about it a bit today.
Yes.
And then we're going to go off and finish it, and we'll be back in a couple weeks with our big spoiler cast. So that's something you can look forward to.
Yeah, I'm so super looking forward to this. It's going to be such a great game for a spoiler cast. It's going to be so much to talk about.
You won't cry in this one, maybe?
Who knows?
We don't know.
Zelda games make me cry all the time.
What's going to happen to that tiny horse? Uh-oh.
Don't you dare say another word.
It's very small.
About
Could get
that
trod upon.
No, it won't. When I did that quest with the horse and the riff, I was very upset.
The tiny horses are really in. We saw in Japan, they were like
Fantasy Life
plushes. No, we saw plushes of a tiny horse, and you're like, that's the Pocky Jockey horse.
It wasn't, though.
And it was just a generic horse. And then now this game has this tiny horse, and then the
Fantasy Life that
the new Fantasy Life also has a tiny horse.
I really wish that was the Pocky Jockey.
So miniature horses are real. Like in real life, they exist.
They exist.
How big are they?
They're like, they're probably like my height.
They're not meant to be ridden, even by people like you.
It's like a child, maybe like a 3-year-old.
Could you ride it?
I used to have like a pony.
You had a pony?
I used to work at this like barn. I volunteered at this barn.
What is this?
And there was this little tiny pony it wasn't a miniature horse, but it was a pony. But I was the only one at that barn that I was volunteering at that was able to like ride it because it was too small. But I was
somehow this went from I had a pony to I was an indentured servant at a barn.
And so it was just basically like my little pony.
My little pony. Play the song.
It's so cute, and it was really mean. His name was Snickers. It was a brown pony, and I would ride it, but it would do really mean things to me. Like it would throw me off. It stepped on me a bunch of times. It bit me a bunch of times.
Yeah.
It was like a real feisty. I love that horse, but it hated me. It was great. We had a great relationship.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Let's get into our big discussion of Echoes of Wisdom. But first, we have a great sponsor to shout out. This episode is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Listen, going online without ExpressVPN is like leaving your laptop unattended at the coffee shop while you go run to the bathroom. Most of the time, you're probably okay, but what if one day you come out of the bathroom and that laptop is gone?
Yikes.
Oh no.
Yikes.
So anytime you connect your device to an unencrypted network, whether that's in a coffee shop, a hotel, an airport, or whatever, your online data is not secure.
No.
It is just out there, and anybody on that same network can get the access and steal your stuff like passwords, credit card details, all of it.
Yeah, and like there's a misconception that to be a hacker, you have to be like some shadowy, like brilliant genius, but you don't have to. Like,
are you a hacker?
No.
You could be.
I mean, I can if I did this, but I'm not gonna. But it's pretty easy for someone to basically steal your data.
Yes.
Like it just takes, some cheap hardware and you don't really need much more to do it. So it is very important to keep yourself, your data, and all your information safe.
And these people have a big incentive because you can sell one person's data for up to $1,000 on the scary place called the dark web. Dun, dun, dun. Don't go there. Whoa. So ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet.
Yeah, I was on the ExpressVPN the entire time we were in Japan.
Oh yeah.
Because I was obviously using my computer to do all sorts of stuff, like edit videos.
We were not on a home network at all.
Yeah, we were working, and we worked from tons of different places. Yes, cafes, hotels, airports, and it was very important to us to keep all our data secure.
Yeah. So it is very secure. Take a hacker with a supercomputer over 1 billion years to get past the ExpressVPN encryption. Wow. All you have to do is open up the app, click one button, and get connected. And it works on all your devices, phones, laptops, you name it. So you can stay secure no matter what you're doing and what you're doing it on. And nobody wants the hassle. No. It's like this has become kind of a reality of life now of like, these things can happen, but it's such a hassle.
It is. You got to change all your stuff.
You got to run the reports, change your stuff.
Oh my gosh, who has the time for that?
Don't do that. So, secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/Kit and Krysta. That's EXPRESSVPN.com/Kit and Krysta, and you can get an extra 3 months free. expressvpn.com/Kit and Krysta.
I'm going to put the link right over here and also in the description below.
All right, Zelda.
Zelda.
Is the game meeting our expectations? I think before we can answer that question, we have to say, what were our expectations?
Let's just set the expectations.
What were your expectations for this game?
Yeah, this one was interesting because it is the first sort of new top-down 2D Zelda game that we've had
since... A long time.
Yeah, since, what, A Link Between Worlds?
I think so.
Right.
That's more than 10 years.
That's a 3DS game. So that's a long time ago. So yeah, it's been a long time. Obviously, a lot has happened, as they say, with the amazing, critically acclaimed blockbuster games like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Like the Zelda universe has changed, has evolved. So it was interesting for this game to like enter into this space. And I think my expectations were a couple of things. One is like, I wanted this game to sort of be a bridge between what 3D Zelda is now and what 2D top-down Zelda was then. Like there's got to be some way to bring some of those modern things that were introduced in the 3D Zelda games over to this Zelda genre that we kind of grew up playing, while keeping the spirit of those 2D top-down Zelda games. My other expectation was for it to kind of maintain that element of freedom and creativity and exploration that was introduced with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, because 2D Zelda games can sometimes feel like very linear. So I had hoped that because we exist in a world of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, like that can be brought into the 2D Zelda games as well. So those are kind of my expectations going in. What about you?
Well, I think for starters, I just have a huge amount of trust in the Zelda team to make something really good. So even though I could tell, they're making something really different.
Yeah.
And, that's been their theme for the past 10 years plus. We're breaking the conventions of the Legend of Zelda.
Right.
Break away. And it seemed like they were doing that in a big way, in a way they hadn't yet before in any of those like, other games. I was like, this is really different. It's maybe not what I expected, but I trust that they will be able to pull it off.
Yeah.
I also, was very interested to learn more about this game's connections to A Link to the Past. And that game is very fresh in our minds because we played that, two months ago.
Yeah, we played it in preparation for this game.
Exactly. So I was very curious. I don't know that I necessarily had an expectation, but I was just like, I want to know, how much does it feel like that, or how much does that world feel like that world? So that was just kind of in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing was just, there's been so much talk about people wanting a game focusing on playable Zelda versus Link for a long time. Are they going to make Zelda feel like a distinct and unique character, or is it just going to be like a reskin of Link with the roles reversed?
Right.
And I felt like from what we had seen, and we should say we played this game briefly before it came out at PAX, felt like they were going down that path, but I needed to see completely for myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have not finished the game. I've seen some people just zip through this game. We don't play games like that.
We don't. I like to take
We should say, we take our time. So how far are we? I think we're relatively close.
Yes, we are. Now, if you don't want spoilers, we'll try to keep everything as vague as possible.
Yes. We are going to do our best to avoid any significant spoilers here.
Yeah, we are. I think we're both past sort of the first three like early dungeons.
Yeah.
There's 3 that you sort of have to contend with. And there is a portion of the game that is around Hyrule Castle. And we've both finished that portion of the game.
You did finish that?
I did, yes.
Okay.
So now
Then we're basically at the exact same place.
I'm now doing the secondary part of sort of the next. This feels like the next part of the game where I'm at, where you're sort of, my next mission is like, go towards,
now there's more dungeons that you can do.
Yeah, the Elden Volcano region. Like there's more regions that have sort of unlocked.
Right.
After you do the first set of dungeons.
Right. Yeah, it feels like a very traditional Zelda structure where there's, the first couple, and those are almost like a very extended tutorial where you're getting all your tools. And then there's kind of a finale to that portion.
Yes.
And then it opens up and it's like, all right, now it really gets going.
Yeah, that's sort of what happened in A Link to the Past as well.
Yeah.
Where then you kind of enter the dark world.
Right.
And so this kind of feels like that part of
exactly.
that break in the game where it's like, okay, now you're doing the next thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so we're both at pretty much the same place. I imagine that's...
the next...
I don't know, it hasn't been enough days for the Switch to tell me how many hours I played.
Yeah.
But I think I'm probably between like 10 to 12
Yeah, you're probably about
hours.
halfway through.
I think somewhere between a third and a halfway through is my guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Of where we are in the game.
I think so, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Gut reaction. What have you thought of what you've played?
Really fun. Like the moment that, you sort of pick up the game, you sort of start getting into it, you're like, oh, this is a very fun and addictive game loop. This idea of like, ooh, what things can I echo? Like, what is the next cool thing that I can? It sort of has like a collectible quality to it, which is very enticing all the time. But also the collectible that you're getting is useful. It's almost like Pokemon in a way, where you're like collecting a lot of Pokemon. You're like exploring around. It's like, is that a new one? Do I have that one yet? The game, really feels like a 2D Zelda game in the way that it, kind of looks, obviously, and the structure of the dungeons and the structure of the quests. It does feel like a 2D top-down Zelda game, but the mechanics are super fresh and different. And yeah, I've been having a ton of fun. I really like it so far.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's outstanding. And I agree with that word you used, addictive, because I think that's very much what it is, and that's probably why I could play on that whole 10-hour flight.
I know, you didn't even blink. You were just
nonstop
playing this game.
In a way that most Zelda games are not. It is very addictive, and yeah, I think part of it is you're collecting all of the echoes and testing them out, and I agree with what you said about it having kind of a Pokemon quality, and I feel like a lot of the characters have kind of like a Pokemon
look.
There's something about the design of it. It works a lot better than maybe in some of the other Zelda games. It's like they have kind of a cutesy, unique aspect to them.
Right. They all have little names.
It's like you might bite me, but you also might be kind of cute.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's.
Did you get the little shark echo?
I sure did.
I was like, I saw that little shark, the big-headed shark, and I was like, oh, you would love this.
I definitely got that.
So cute, right?
Yeah. So that's been a very different side of a Zelda game. But just exploring the world is super fun.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, you're a little bit limited in where you can go, but I have been happy that after that, it is kind of at your discretion where you want to go and what you want to do. I didn't expect it to be quite to that extent, and you can use these echoes in really creative ways to get around.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of combinations online of I didn't even think of that. I should try that out.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to be necessarily breaking the game, but it's just you can do this if you want. So that's a really fun thing that I think outside of Tears of the Kingdom we haven't really seen in a Zelda game so far. So yeah, I think it's really outstanding so far.
Yeah. I've already started to see a lot of people posting, funny things that they've been doing with echoes. Sort of like we saw those really fun posts around Tears of the Kingdom where people are building giant mechs or war machines to take down, dragons.
Spanking machines.
Or the torture devices for the Koroks. Oh man, poor Koroks. There's no Koroks in this game yet. But yeah, I already saw people starting to do that and getting really creative, and I've seen a lot of usage of echoes. I'm like, oh, I haven't thought about doing it like that. That seems neat, And I saw this really fun because I had this funny I was playing the game over the weekend. It's when you put down a bed, you can rest and it replenishes your hearts. And I'm always finding myself making Zelda sleep in the bed in the most inopportune times. Yeah. It's oh, she needs to replenish her hearts. I don't care where I am. There could be monsters close by. I'm just going to plop us bed down and she's going to go to sleep for a little bit.
That was a really surprising mechanic for me because for a long time I was the
old bed.
Normally you would hit a bush and a heart would fall out. I was I'm having a hard time finding those.
Yeah.
And then I was wait a minute, I can put this bed down. It's oh, you can rest and get the hearts back. I did not realize that.
Yeah, I realized that pretty early on.
I thought that's really unique.
Yeah, and then I saw somebody create this thing where they were on this echo that was moving by itself and attacking monsters, and they put a bed on top, and Zelda was just napping, and then this echo was just flame throwing all of the different enemies in that area, and I was brilliant.
Wow.
Yes, so there is going to be a fun, I think there's going to be fun videos that people are posting of all their creativity. And I love it when that happens with Zelda games. It really started, I think, with Breath of the Wild, and it definitely continued in a crazy way with Tears of the Kingdom, so much so that I was intimidated because I was like, I can never build that.
Yeah.
And I can see it happening now with Echoes as well, which is really fun. The Echoes are a little bit easier to deal with too than like the fuse or the whatever mechanics in Tears of the Kingdom that I had to struggle with.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that because I was like, oh, I just need to press a button to
Mostly
cast
just
it.
turn them loose.
Right.
Or stack it up. That's
it's not that much
Right.
like physics or like visualization.
No, there's hardly any physics. Yeah.
Yeah, so that I was like, oh, I was really grateful for that because I was like, I hope it's not too hard for me to like, manipulate these echoes.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been really pleased with that.
Yeah. So again, going into this game, we thought this feels like a game that they intentionally made as this bridge for people who came in on Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom to kind of get them into 2D games. Now that we played it, does it feel like that?
I really think it feels like that.
Yeah.
I think they did a great job sort of using certain elements that, like, they really dug in, I think, to the core elements of what people found to be addictive in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and, like, extracted those out in its purest form and put it into this game. I really actually think it's quite genius because I think they realized that, like, okay, what people want is this idea of, like, creativity and freedom. But they probably also realized there were people like me out there that were like, wow, this mechanic is really interesting, but like kind of hard. So like, how do we make it more accessible for people? And I think they were able to do that pretty well so far in Echoes, where it's like, yes, you can explore, but it's a little bit more limited so you don't feel overwhelmed. Yes, you can, use these echoes in a creative way. But again, they kind of put a little guardrail up so you don't feel like it's too abstract. Like if there's too many options, then there's no option. You're too scared to pick any option. So they put some constraints there for you so you feel like, okay, I can pick an option within these constraints and it's easy for me to do that. So I think they did a really good job, like really bridging that gap and like almost creating in a complementary way, like a smaller experience in this more like compact 2D world.
Remember at the GDC session for Breath of the Wild, they said, one of the things they did to prove they could do this was they made that 2D prototype.
They did, yeah.
That looked like original NES Zelda.
Yeah.
But you could do a lot of the same stuff. I agree that this does feel like kind of an extension or like a little mini version of those games in a really fun way. And yeah, they're adding in things that people had wanted that for whatever reason they struggled to do or didn't want to do in those games, like proper dungeons. You're more of the dungeon connoisseur than I am. I think we're going to talk about those a little bit later, but they're there in a way that they weren't in those other games.
Right.
So yeah, I'm curious how successful that will be with those 30 million people. Are they going to be clamoring to go through the back catalog? A lot of those are available. But I do think they mostly nailed that mission, if that was indeed their mission.
Yeah. There's also just little subtle things that they've done that help you connect the two. Like we talked about this before too. Like we noticed this very early on when we were seeing trailers for the game. Like the menus look the same. Yeah. The general controls of navigating stuff in the game feel very familiar. Yeah. The way that you interact with NPCs and the way the story builds is very familiar. So they have already sort of made a formula that they know works and that obviously 30 million people like and want to live in this world. And they were able to repeat some of that, in this one as a way of getting your brain to say oh yeah, I remember this. I like this. So it's very smart. It's truly they really did, I think, take some of those core aspects of those huge, 3D Zelda games and kind of extrapolate it down into this more compact experience.
So is it different playing as Zelda than Link in all those games?
Well, she can't fight, so
Not
it is
really.
a little bit different.
Yeah.
You can go into your sword fighter stance It's a limited time. I'm doing pretty good now. I've leveled her like sword fighter stance.
What level are you at?
3, I believe.
Yeah, I'm at 3 too.
Yeah. So the bar is a lot longer now, so you can kind of stay in that stance for longer. But I find myself not really even wanting to use that stance that much unless I'm like in a boss battle or, really going for it in the still world. Like in the overworld, I really do prefer to use an echo, and it does play different because you're basically like playing like the role of like a sorcerer in Diablo, where you stand in the back and cast, and you got your meat shield up front. You're the meat shield usually for me. So so I just cast like a like one of my like melee characters or whatever, or some sort of a character that can attack, and just stand back, really. And so it does feel really different than Link. That's very usually the aggressor and just goes up and slashes around with the sword and goes on his way. It's a bit of a slower experience, right? Going through some of those enemies.
Yeah, I don't think there has been any like big surprise of playing a Zelda beyond what we knew going into the game. But I think that's fine. I think there's a lot there. I think there's a lot of different ways that you can play. I think even if you're not doing the sword fighter thing, like you can be the aggressor if you want. You can just like drop rocks and throw those. It's relatively easy to do. There are ways to do it.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool that, there's so many different options. I think, what I like about being Zelda is just like kind of a different approach to the character being in the story, where like some people recognize you, some people don't. You're kind of like on the run because your father, who's the king's been corrupted and kind of put out a hit on you. It's like kind of dark, where it's like, oh, you were going to be executed by your father. It's like that's a pretty dark twist.
That's a dark storyline. You're imprisoned and about to be executed.
Take that, Twilight Princess. This is actually the dark and gritty Zelda. So I think I like that quite a bit. And yeah, there is this kind of like mystery of like she and Link don't know each other. A lot of people don't know who Link is because like,
that's weird.
He's that sword fighter. So that's something I'm actually really interested in, is like the broader story conceit.
Yes, I was curious about that too.
I love that there is a reason why Link does not speak in this game. Did you find that?
Oh, in the diaries?
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, the people who have been through the rifts, when they come back, they're changed in some sort of way, and now he can't talk. Could be a good setup for a movie.
Maybe this is what it is.
Just say, honestly, if they made this story into a movie so far, like this is a pretty good story.
This is pretty interesting.
I'm liking this so far. I think
it's very standalone.
Yes,
which is what I kind of like.
Right.
Like again, like we just need like a good standalone story. Like give us the reasons of why these relationships are happening in this particular game.
Right. So I like that idea of I am a very different person than Link going through this world and experiencing this adventure, and the people that you talk to have very different reactions to that, which I like.
Very, very true. Yeah, very true. Yeah, I was very curious about that because in the very beginning, he does go and save Zelda with like his last breath before being pulled into the rift. And I thought, they don't explicitly tell you, but it's like I thought that she knew who he was, but she doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, nobody, like, they call Ganon, he's the blue guy. Who's that? Who's that weird blue guy we don't know?
Blue monster.
Yeah, it seems like people are very
this is like early days.
Unaware of the history of it all.
Yeah, and then you do get a little history dump from your father. That's like such and such is the Legend of Hyrule.
Right.
And so you get a little bit of that sort of mid game almost, and you're like, okay, so now we are getting into that lore a little bit.
Right.
And they sort of make references to things that possibly are the Triforce and things like that. So there are some of those elements coming back. I do like, actually, how they are introducing the story, too. There's no long text scroll.
There was no stained glass.
T to S.
The game
was
just plays.
Very fast. It was like...
If we were... So how did we rate those games in that video? S, just tier list? S, A, B, C?
Yeah.
Or how would you rate the first 5 minutes of this game?
Probably A.
I think A, too.
Heck yeah. It was good. I was like, when I was like booting it up, I was like, oh, is there gonna be stained glass? Is there a book? Is there text
Just start the game and immediately put it down and watch this stained glass.
The stained glass
as the world's slowest text goes by. No.
You're like jamming the A button. Yeah, no, T-Das was very good. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. We're in it. We're in it.
Okay, what are your high and low points for this game so far?
High points definitely have been like all the exploration and just like collecting. I do like collecting stuff.
Yeah.
So, and especially when a game gives me a reason
to
collect it. Now I'm just like my eyes.
Do you mean collecting echoes, or
collecting
like you can collect all those little accessories, those clothes accessories?
Oh, I like all of it.
There's a lot of things to collect.
But mainly I'm talking about the echoes.
Smoothies.
I do make a smoothie.
Collecting smoothies.
Unfortunately,
I kind of hate the smoothie.
That mechanic is too slow.
I don't like
You can't stack it.
Although I did have to drink a smoothie last night. I almost died.
You didn't sleep in the boss battle?
I couldn't sleep there.
Why not?
It's too hectic. I had to drink a smoothie.
I like the idea of like adding some kind of cooking element to a Zelda game because again, they have trained you to like want to do this. The butter is there.
There's a dubious smoothie.
It's an unfortunate smoothie. What's worse, an unfortunate smoothie or dubious food? Which one would you rather have?
I mean, unfortunate sounds cursed.
They both have the pixelated.
Yeah. Don't drink.
You have to choose one. Which one would you choose?
Don't drink it.
Which one?
The dubious food or an unfortunate smoothie?
Yeah, which one would you choose if you had to choose?
Maybe the unfortunate smoothie I'd rather drink. I don't know.
Really? Because it's faster to get down the hatch?
Maybe. I don't know.
Anyways.
Stop asking me about it.
Okay. But yeah, the collection of all the echoes is really fun. Even if I never use that echo. Like,
well, again, it is like Pokemon where it's like you get it and it's like, oh, it's fun. Now I have it. And then I'm never going to use you again.
It's like the Rattata. Like, just put that away.
All right. Into the box you go.
Yeah.
You little freak. I've got you, but I'm never going to see you again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's totally like that janky Pokemon that you have to catch anyway.
You want to get it, though.
Because you need to complete the dex.
Yes.
This is like the Echo's dex. Like, I need to have whatever, this jar. I don't care. I need to have it.
And then I was like, why are there 5 different types of jars? I get why there's different types of beds. I got the fancy bed now.
I have Zelda's bed.
Yes, exactly.
Her bed. Oh, man, it's a comfy looking bed.
But yeah, there's some things that just seem like palette swaps. Maybe there's a better reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I have 4 pots. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like literally 4 pots. So that part is very, very fun. I also really like just like the traversal aspects of it because you can use a lot of different ways of getting around. Mm-hmm. Like you could ride the tiny horse.
Yeah.
You can, obviously.
Do you like the horse?
I love the horse.
Why?
It's pretty good because you don't have to worry about jumping at all. It like auto jumps.
Okay.
This
game does have a lot of fast travel points, which I like.
I was gonna say So
like, yes, you can go faster on the horse, but you can also just teleport right there at any time.
The fast travel is really nice.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah. There's like a lot of ways to traverse the world, and there's like that element of like, oh, which part of the map have I been to yet? Like that part of it. I do find that really fun. I find that fun in Tears of the Kingdom. So that's like the main thing that kept me engaged in the game. Is like, what little nook and cranny haven't I looked at yet? And there's like all these caves to explore.
Yeah, the caves are really interesting.
They're really interesting. They're like sort of more like the 2D parts of it. So it's very imaginative, like the way that you get around this world and find little secrets and stuff. And then make it kind of worth your while. You get like some kind of like, heart piece or whatever. So it does feel like it's worth it to explore. So that's all been pretty fun for me.
Yeah. What do you not like?
I don't like the menus because it's so
the menus
long.
or that one menu, the Echo menu.
I don't like the Echo menu.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to navigate.
So it is literally just one long string of echoes.
And you can sort it.
You can sort it a couple ways. Do you have any better idea of how they could have improved this?
I think they should let you favorite some.
Yeah, like if you favorite like your top 5
menu, yeah.
And that they're just like constantly in this always available row.
Yeah,
I think,
so you can
but isn't that the most used? Isn't that the same thing?
No, because sometimes I collect one.
It goes right to the back.
I know, but I collect one and I use it for a little while, and it ends up being most used for a little while, but then I don't need it anymore because I'm like not in that region.
You got bored of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough. There's a lot of options for you. the problem of it being that long line too is not the best.
I guess they could have had like different like, enemies, object, blah blah blah. But then it's just more stuff to go through.
Yeah.
I bet they looked at a lot of different solutions for this.
Yeah.
They're like, forget it, just make the list. I wish you could have more than one, like 2 equipped at once would be really nice.
Swap.
Right, like one, like say one
traversal, one
fighter
yeah.
type. That would be really nice.
Yeah.
Because there are times where you're kind of swapping between the two. Or again, like my strategy of like throwing rocks, like if I want to have somebody fighting and I do something, it's like too much, it's a little bit too much back and forth.
Yeah, that part's really
So if I could have 2 buttons equipped to 2 different echoes, I'd be really nice.
Yeah, that would be really nice. I do like the idea of like always being able to have a melee or some sort of action fighting echo equipped, because I find myself like, avoiding a lot of enemies because I've been using my traversal echoes, and then I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta fight this mob of enemies, and now I have to like scroll, like my fingers don't work. It's like finger gymnastics trying to find the right one, and I'm like, oh no, I scrolled past it. Oh no, now I'm dying. Right. I can't even nap. What am I gonna do? Smoothies are all unfortunate. What do I do? Yeah, then it's like very like kind of anxiety attack, So I don't really love that. Yeah.
One other thing I was a little bit surprised at in a way I didn't love was the sword fighter echo. It is a little bit better now that I have a longer
more
bar.
Energy, yeah.
But it's really, you get those little balls to replenish it.
Yeah.
You really don't get those unless the game wants you to be getting it.
Right.
Like if you're just out in the world and you want to use that to fight somebody, you're going to run out and you're probably not going to get any more.
That's right.
And I think you can make a smoothie to help with that. There's ways to manually help with that.
Yeah.
But I just thought I would be getting a bit more of those along the way versus like, okay, you're in a dungeon, you're in a rift, like now you're going to be getting those because the game wants you to have them because you need it.
Yeah.
I kind of would like to just have that available equally throughout the game.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way early on. I was like, oh, okay, now I can, pick and choose when I want to use the sword myself. It's like, no, you really can't.
And then you ran out of energy. And you didn't get it.
And I didn't get it for a long time after that.
Found another
I was like, all right, you are teaching me a lesson now. Don't use this as much as you think.
And because they definitely want you to use the echo.
Sure.
When you're in the rift trying to get those little blue energy things, the way that they like gravitationally pull to you is not good. Oh yeah. Sometimes I'm like, I need one. Mm-hmm. Like I see it.
Yeah.
But then I'm walking to it, but it doesn't come to me.
Yeah.
So they really don't want you to have it, is the thing. They really don't. They want you to only use it in like a boss fight.
Totally.
Or in like sort of a desperate situation.
Right.
Or when you're like, doing something in the rift. But they really are like hampering your ability to use it because they want you to use the echoes. Right. So they really are kind of hand holding the way that you play a little bit. Yeah.
And now we do have the arrows that go with the sword.
Arrows,
have you powered up the arrows yet?
I have.
They seem extremely weak.
They're terrible. I only use it on like bats and stuff.
It's basically for like triggering some sort of a switch for me off in the distance because it's that weak. I don't think did they talk about the bow and arrow before? I don't think they did.
I don't think so.
Because that was something else. I just like to have this traditional Zelda item. So you do kind of get it.
You do kind of.
I was pretty happy when you get that.
I did enjoy that.
Yeah,
he drops the bow and you're like, oh, my bow now.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
One other little nitpicky thing that I don't know, remains to be seen how I'll feel about it the more I play the game is, there's the dungeons, but there's a lot of like pre-dungeon that you have to do.
Have to like get to the dungeon by solving some problem.
I mean, it's like it's like you go to the location of the dungeon. There's something the people in the city need you to do.
Yeah.
And then you go into that first rift and you got to collect all the little tribe people.
Yeah.
In the bubbles, and then you're finally getting into the dungeon. So it's like a multi-step, multi-hour process of doing this. And after we had just wrapped up that last section that we had done, it's like I feel like I haven't really had a chance to just freely explore because I've been locked in to like this series of events that maybe went on a bit too long. I probably could have done without one of those things.
I took a break and did some exploring myself before I started like the next part. I think I took a break from between the desert and the Jabul Waters part, and I was glad I did because you're right. You are like kind of locked into questy kind of things where you gotta listen to a lot of dialogue and you're talking to a lot of NPCs and you're doing multi-layered portions of it to get into the dungeon. So I think you're right. Like it does. Once you're like locked into those areas, you're kind of locked in. So it's like on you to take a little breather between to explore a little bit.
So now we have those 3 dungeons that have opened up. I don't think I'm gonna spend a couple nights just goofing off. Because by all accounts, like you can go pretty much anywhere.
Exactly.
Now that with what we have now, you can go pretty much anywhere that you want.
Yeah.
I kind of like the progression so far of when you get the extra little pips on try.
Oh yeah.
There's always kind of something different that you can do.
Yeah, she's just like, I'm more powerful. Or whatever.
Used to be, you can summon another thing. You have another pip available. Sometimes
it like
they will cost less.
Yeah.
Which means you can summon more of them, which I appreciate. So they're always kind of keeping that fresh. And I think it also does help to keep some of the echoes that maybe start to get a little weaker, a bit more relevant. Because it's like, well, now you can summon more of them. And you can create a mob.
Like a mob, yeah.
Which I think is cool. Yeah, why don't we, favorite and most used echoes so far? Why don't we talk about those?
Okay, so favorite, let's talk about like favorite attack echoes first.
Yes.
So I like the spear moblin.
Oh, the spear moblin. It throws the spear.
Throws the spear.
Yeah, okay.
That one's very good.
Yeah.
Like you can just cast it from really far away.
The basic one.
No, the leveled up one.
The leveled up one.
Like the blue one.
Oh, okay.
The blue one is very good. And you can just cast it and sort of stand back a little bit and I'll just throw the spear.
Right.
Thin it out a little bit.
Sure.
And then you can go in and do a thing, you know? That one's
and
really good.
how many pips does that cost?
That's
4?
That's a 3 pip.
So you can summon one of those.
You can, yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not super.
Okay.
You can't do multiple. I recently got the one that is like the on the ball and chain, and it just goes in a circle.
It swings it around, yeah.
Yeah, that one's fun. I did learn this trick. I was watching a YouTube video last night, and basically what you can do is you can bind to it.
Oh.
And then just walk around with it.
Oh,
and
that's a good
then
idea.
it's just like like swinging in a circle, and you can just walk around with it and just kind of clear a mob.
Yeah.
So I tried that. That was fun.
We didn't talk about this bind mechanic at all. What do you think of that?
I think it's
easy.
okay.
It's easy to forget about.
Easy to forget about. Sometimes I have to think about it a little bit. Like, oh, right, I can't move it in this way. I can only move it in the way that I move
There's
it.
a lot of puzzles where it's kind of obvious, where there's like something behind a wall and you have to beam through and then move it that way.
Yes.
But when I'm just out and about, it doesn't really come to mind as much
There's
for me
some
to
boss
use
fights where you need to use it.
Yeah.
Puzzles where you need to use it. I don't use it as much. I find it a little awkward, honestly, sometimes. I find that sometimes I like overthink the bind. I'm like, I'm thinking about this.
And then there's the bind, and then there's the other bind where you hold R also.
And you are like stuck to it.
I find that's where like the logic of it can start to escape me of like, wait, what's happening now?
Exactly. I totally feel the same way.
Yeah.
It starts to get a little Tears of the Kingdom for me. I'm like, this is a little big brain. I don't know. This feels weird. It's like weird physics stuff that I don't really get this.
Right.
Yeah.
Echoes, the one that I use the most is surprisingly just the basic sword moblin.
Okay.
Because I can summon a lot of them. And now I just got another discount on how much it costs, so I think I can summon 3 of them at once. And my issue with a lot of the individual attackers is it's kind of every attack has kind of a cooldown that's slow.
A little slow.
So like your spear moblin, it's like throw. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Throw again. But this way, it's like I have 3 guys attacking all at once. Somebody's always inflicting damage.
Cool.
And I feel like it wears them down a bit faster than the individual, and then they on the reverse they don't get overwhelmed because if there's a really big numbers to numbers fight, everybody can just get spread out.
Okay. So I like that.
I expected that I would have left that long behind by now, but I keep going back to it. I keep going back to it.
Okay. I like also using that bird, not the crow, but the one that looks like Porygon.
Porygon.
Whatever.
Oh. Yeah, what is that thing?
I don't know. But I like that bird because it's like you can home it onto things.
Okay.
So you just ZR target it, and then you use that bird to like home onto it. It's kind of fun. It's
Okay.
it's like an air missile, basically.
Another one is I think it's called the Pea Hat, which is there's that quest of the guy who wants the flying tree.
Oh yeah.
And it's basically this, and it shoots out spikes, and it just
spins.
It just buzzsaws around.
That one's good.
That's pretty good when there's like a lot of enemies out there. You kind of chew through all of them.
Yeah. Sometimes you need like the AOE damage.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We just did a bunch of water stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That little bomby fish.
That's pretty cool.
I basically just like bind to it.
It's stuff like sticks into it.
Yeah, it's like magnetized. Yeah. That one's it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to use that one too. And I also like the fish with the little light on its head.
Oh yeah, because some of those underwater caves
it's
can't
really
see.
dark, so you can just bind it on with a little flashlight.
Right.
It's cute.
Have you drowned yet? Does this game have some horrific drowning animation?
I have not drowned.
I've come close, but it hasn't happened.
I've always had a bubble.
Found a bubble. Okay.
Yeah, a little bubble. Life is the bubbles. It's not Mario.
Or Sonic? I don't know.
I thought there was going to be a big eel.
Oh,
I was really scared. It was
time.
kind of like
there's still time. Don't worry.
There's maybe more water
there's
in our future.
Time, yes.
So that's my attack ones.
Yeah.
I don't use as many different ones as I think other people do. I'm very like.
I have like. I'm like
a 5
2
echo
or 3.
girl.
Oh, I have less than that even.
Oh.
Yeah. When it comes to the fighting.
Yeah, it's like you don't have them.
That trick with binding it and moving it around, that seems...
yeah, you should try that. I think that's really fun.
Yeah.
The traversal echoes are even more boring for me. I literally use like 2. I use the trampoline.
Trampoline's great.
Trampoline is
really good.
I
Do you now have the accessory that lets you jump higher?
Yes.
Yeah.
The froggy feet?
I'm going to be keeping that on for a while.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That seems
I have that on right now.
Okay.
And I had the fast swimmy one for a while.
Yeah. That was all right.
I couldn't really tell a difference.
I didn't seem that much different.
But I put it on because I was like, I'm going to be the water a lot, so I might as well put this on.
Yeah.
We both recently got the water cube.
Mm-hmm.
That is a game changer, I will say, in terms of traversal.
Right.
I have now a better grasp of how to cast those.
The way it works
is a little confusing.
Is not immediately intuitive.
Yes, because you have to really understand, like, are you making a cube to the right and left of you?
Or how do I get it to go up versus out?
Out. The axis can be a little confusing.
Right.
But now I'm getting the hang of it a little bit more. I can make a lot of those, you know? I really stack up that water tower. So it's very...
Can you put a trampoline on the top of that somehow?
You can put yes.
Oh, it doesn't sink?
No.
Oh. Can you put a bed on it?
Yes, I have tried that.
A water bed.
I slept on the water bed. I made a water bed.
Okay.
It did splash. Like I made the bed and the bottom one gave out and the whole thing came down.
It broke the stack?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I think it's because I went too many.
Yeah, you probably did. Huh.
So those are really the 2 that I use the most for traversal. And of course the old bed is like a good bridge builder. Like you just
because you can make so many of them.
You just have a lot that you can use to make a bridge. Sometimes all you got to do is make a bridge. The world's longest bridge made out of an old bed.
Yeah.
Like it's very unimaginative, honestly, but
it works.
It works.
Yeah,
it does work.
I do also like I don't know the exact name, but you get it in the desert. It's like a fan kind of thing. It shoots air.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like those sand bellows that you get in Skyward Sword.
I like those. I like that.
It just has like a lot of uses, and you can carry that around and just kind of like blow everybody
away people
around when you don't really want to bother actually fighting them. You can just blow them off a cliff.
Somebody did this really fun thing where you put that down and then you stand on top of it. And you cast the black things with the spikes on it. Oh, yeah. The starfish or whatever.
Yeah.
You just cast it on top. You stand on top of that thing. You cast it into the wind.
Yeah.
And it basically becomes like a bomb, like a missile.
Oh,
and you can just stand back and just keep casting it to the enemy.
Cool.
It's pretty cool. I haven't tried it yet, but I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, I need to watch more YouTube videos.
That's what I did last night.
There's so many combos that I probably have not
yeah.
Yes. So these dungeons.
Yeah.
I need your opinion on the dungeons as a dungeon expert.
Yeah. So these dungeons, and I think it might be because they're very early. Like those dungeons when you first encounter the Link to the Past dungeons, those are all like the first couple are pretty simplistic as well.
I like those dungeons.
I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying that they are very linear, very sort of simplistic. These dungeons are fine. I don't find them to be
What's a dungeon you like?
I mean, I like them.
Do you really like them?
Yes.
Or do you like the idea of them more than the actual execution of them? I don't know.
I really like the sort of latter ones in the Link to the Past. The reason I say this is because when I come out of doing a dungeon, I want to feel a sense of like satisfaction because it was challenging.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh wow, I got through that. Like I didn't have to look it up in a guide. Like I actually solved this dungeon. I did a good job. Like I feel satisfied after solving this thing and beating the boss. I feel like these are a little easy and a little linear right now because they're early.
All right.
It's like I know exactly what to do. I'm not. This is like you're like writing a script for me. Like I know exactly what to do. Like I'm not feeling like I'm challenged really. And the boss fights are pretty easy too. Yeah. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like you come out of it and it doesn't feel like anything big happened.
Okay.
It just feels like another day, you know?
Wow.
So that's how I feel about them right now. I feel like they're probably going to get much more involved now that we're in like this sort of second part of the game. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm hopeful that will be the next experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't have a clue what people want out of dungeons.
Well, what do you want? You seem
I don't know. I don't know. I'm,
if you're happy, you're happy.
I'm fine with these.
Yeah.
Again, I wasn't a dungeon maniac to begin with, so I don't exactly know. I don't want something that frustrates me is what I don't want.
Yeah, it's very hard to balance that. You know, it's hard to balance something that is not going to be frustrating and too long and too annoying with something that feels challenging. I think that is the tough thing to do. That's what makes these game developers amazing when they can nail it, because then you feel the sense of like you're just taking me to the edge where I'm challenged enough, where I'm not frustrated, but I really am enjoying this experience of really using all of my abilities to get me through this. And in this game particularly, like Zelda has so many cool abilities, so many echoes that she can use at her disposal to solve a cool dungeon. But I really hadn't felt like I needed to like use my wits about me to do this, you know?
I mean, so far I've found everything to be very intuitive.
Yeah.
Which I like. I think the vibe is good in them. I feel like lengthwise they seem about right. Oh. All right, well, I hope you get your wish and you get the absolute brain buster mega dungeon coming up.
Bring it.
All right.
I'm excited.
Great. Does this game feel like it's properly connected to A Link to the Past? So far, I would say no.
Yeah, I was kind of confused by that. Like at first, it was like, oh, this is the same map. It feels very similar.
See, I would say that, you know, if you look at it like on a map's level, it's like, oh yeah, I can kind of see some of the same landmarks, but then you go there and it seems quite different. I'm not actually disappointed in this.
Yeah.
It's just something that is standing out to me. Because again, when we noted this, it's like, gosh, you know, is this one too many games in this world? In this sense, it just feels quite different, where a lot of those areas have been completely transformed and updated in ways that I think are good, but don't necessarily remind me of the original game.
Yeah, I did go to this one part on the map that was like where in the Link to the Past is like the sanctuary or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was the only time I felt like, oh, yes, these games exist maybe in a similar
or even
place.
like the big like Kakariko Village. It's like, oh, this
doesn't feel
I'm
like
not getting the same
doesn't feel like
feeling of that. Or like I was looking for Link's house, you know, by the castle.
Yeah.
Obviously now the castle has the big castle town. So I think these are good changes for the most part.
Yeah.
But you know, for people who were really hoping that it would be like a continuation of the world of that game, so far I'm not seeing it. Maybe later on there will be more like references or callbacks, and I think that's completely fine.
Yeah. I'm not seeing it, but I'm not missing it.
Yeah.
I think that the world that they're building now is quite good and like very full of life. That's one thing I do like about the world so far, is that it does feel pretty lively. Like there are, that like last little quest where you have to kind of bring together the Zoras, the two Zoras. Like it was fun. It was like very, lighthearted, but felt significant at the same time. And the dialogue was really cute and made the world not feel empty. Like there's people living here and they have lives and they have their own troubles and stuff like that they're all solving for. It's not just like Link and Zelda and the king just hanging out in the empty castle, like trying to defeat evil all day. Like there's people living here that have things going on, So I do like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like in those earlier Zelda games, you don't really get that. In these later Zelda games, you start to get more of that, which is kind of nice.
One of the things that people have been talking about, not in a positive sense, are some of the performance issues of this game running on the Switch, whether it's handheld mode, TV mode, what have you. I have not felt many of these. There have been a few moments where I've walked into some dungeon or new environment and there's been a bit of a frame rate stutter.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I maybe I'm lucky that I don't notice these things the same way other people do. It's like, but I've definitely seen it very pervasively being discussed. So it must be there, but I'm just like, it seems okay to me.
Yeah, beyond like a little bit of stutter entering into different environments, maybe a bit of a, loading thing once in a while. Feels okay to me.
Yeah.
Like I really haven't had major issues. Like I only get really bothered when it visibly just looks like
blurry,
really bad.
Blurry.
Yeah, blurry, like motion sickness blurry.
Oh.
Or like if the mechanics are laggy in some sort of way. Like there's a lot of mechanics in the game where you need to summon an echo like very quick or switch an echo or do whatever. I have found no issues with that. And I think if the performance issues is really limited to a bit of frame rate drop and the mechanics are pretty solid, like I'm okay with that, I think.
Yeah,
I can deal with that.
I'm just going to chalk it up to feeling lucky that I am less sensitive to this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because it seems to be a big topic of conversation.
I only play in handheld mode.
I do know, I mean, there are games where I notice like the frame rate is just like consistently low. It's like, I don't love this.
Yeah.
But I don't get that feeling from this game, so.
Are you playing in TV mode?
I'm playing on both.
And you haven't
noticed I have kind of the same impression of it. So
okay, I haven't played this game in
I think
TV
it looks
mode.
nice.
I think it looks great in handheld mode on the OLED.
It's not blurry, fortunately.
It's not blurry. It looks very nice, very colorful, very crisp. Yeah, a little frame rate stutter here and there, but nothing where I was like, this is unplayable, or like I'm so frustrated by these horrible performance issues. Nothing like that.
Wait till Switch 2 to play this game?
Go for it if you want.
Wait for the title update where they fix that and also let you equip 2 Echoes at once?
Great.
Are you just going to hold out? I'm not going to play this until they do that?
They might.
Please sign my petition.
On you guys. Whatever you want to do. I'm not going to stop. No judgment.
Last question. Does it feel like a Zelda game? It's very different.
Yeah, very different.
A lot of changes being made. Conventions broken.
Whoa.
But does it feel like a Zelda game?
I think it does still.
Yes.
I think it does. The core bits, DNA of what makes a Zelda game, I think is still there.
Yeah.
The building blocks are still there.
I haven't even mentioned the music is super good in this game.
The music is very good in this game. Yeah, that main theme is really catchy, very hummable, whistleable.
It's kind of like smaller combinations of instruments.
Yeah,
that make give it kind of like a homey vibe. Like you walk into some like pub in Ireland or something, and
the whole thing
playing some of these things.
Has sort of like a mini vibe to it.
Yes.
In like a really good, it's like I'm entering into this like mini world.
Exactly.
A cute little mini tiny world with a tiny horse and this little music and a tiny bed,
smoothie.
A tiny dubious unfortunate smoothie. It's just something about it feeling like a very cozy, compact space. Like it makes it feel good. Somehow. Like sometimes you don't need it to be like this wide open thing. Like you kind of want it to be like a little cuddly small thing, you know?
Right.
But then, I think it does feel like a Zelda game. I think, yes, there's a lot of mechanics that are different and there's a lot of changes and things like that. But the core experience and the sort of the vibe of a Zelda game is totally there.
I agree. So we did ask our Patreon community what they have been thinking. A lot of them have been playing this game. Connor said, I like the game, but I really wish they just let Zelda have some kind of weapon to use. I'm always out of energy to transform into Link, and creating an echo of a monster that just attacks takes so long. I find myself wondering why Zelda can't just hit something with her stick. The puzzles and creativity are so far the highlights for me.
She is holding a rod.
It's a large stick.
It is very large. You could just bop them with it.
Fede Lopez says, I love the game and I'm quite surprised by the length of it. I thought it was going to be a rather small experience, but it's quite longer than I thought. The only thing that I'm not very happy about is the way dungeons are. They seem to be quite easy in general, and I'm disappointed by the lack of navigation puzzles. Every dungeon seems to be pretty linear, like a succession of rooms, and not like a big puzzle like dungeons used to be. Otherwise, the game is excellent, very fun, and very creative.
Fede Lopez, the voice of the people.
And Trajowie says, perhaps the best single compliment I can give to The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is that everyone in my family is playing and loving it, and the many conversations that it inspires. This is one of those games that really brings people together, and I am here for it.
Oh, that's adorable. Everybody in your family is playing together. Wow, you really gave Nintendo a lot of money. That's so fun. Yeah, but I do think that people are starting to, talk about it more and share creative ways of using their echoes and stuff, and I really like that about it too.
So again, this is our big spoilercast game for October. That'll be coming out later in the month, in a couple weeks probably. We'll be checking in future podcasts briefly in a very spoiler-free way.
Yes.
Because we want to save our big remainder of our conversation for when we're fully ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Yay, I can't wait to keep playing, and I'm so excited for this to be our spoilercast game.
Let's talk about more games we're playing. And in this case, everything on this list is something we played at Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah.
So let's start with what I think was maybe our most surprising game that we saw. Dragon Quest III, is it 2D HD or HD 2D remake?
I want to say
I've written it here and it looks wrong.
I think it's HD 2D.
Okay.
Sure, whatever.
Somewhat a confusing name, but this was our first time seeing and playing this game in person.
Right.
I know they've had it at a lot of previous events. We just didn't get a chance to check it.
Sorry.
What happened?
I'm sorry.
We didn't get a chance to check it out at those, but we finally did, and we were impressed.
Yeah, we came away with it super impressed. The game is absolutely gorgeous. Like, yes, we all know by now that the 2D HD style, HD 2D, whatever, is beautiful. It looks nice. We get the fuzzies when we see games like this. But this one in particular, there's something very special. And I don't know how they're doing it, but it's even more beautiful than ever. Than other HD 2D games that I've ever really seen. There's something about the lighting.
They're pulling out all the tricks.
They really are.
Whatever
the magic fairy dust they're sprinkling on.
So one thing that's different than this, as opposed to something like an Octopath Traveler, is, there's the main characters and they're all in a proper pixelated state, but then everything else is a bit more detailed than that. So there is a bit of variation in the level of detail and the things that you see. But yeah, there's just so many little graphical tricks that they're using to make everything look great. Like the lighting is amazing and it's very dynamic.
Yeah. And something about like the foreground, background.
Yes, there's
detail,
kind of like
the draw distance,
the tilt shift thing where some things go out of focus at certain points and in focus.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
It's like the cinematic camera on your iPhone where it has like that like draw distance.
Exactly. Another thing that you don't often see in games like this is the terrain has a lot of kind of
undulation,
verticality and a little hilliness to it. Normally it's just like you're on a flat surface, whereas this, it feels a bit more like real, it has a bit more realism.
Yeah, you and I stared at a sunset in the game for like a solid 5 minutes.
The day-night cycle is really beautiful, and it's reflected in Overworld in the battles. There was that one thing that I was really transfixed by where you're in the town.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And you could see off in the distance, like the world map. Like it's like there was no break between the town and the world map.
You couldn't go there.
I couldn't just walk out and be back on the world map.
Vista.
But it's like, oh no, that's where it is.
That's where the ocean is.
It just gives you a perfect sense of like, oh, this is where I am in this very self-fulfilled world that feels very cohesive.
Yeah, there's also this beautiful like color palette.
Yeah, the colors are amazing.
It's like very saturated, so
Right.
they're all like very deep, rich
Yes,
colors.
yes.
So everything together, just like we literally were just like we walked around in a circle for like 20 minutes, and we were just like, wow,
Yeah.
look at that!
So
It's amazing.
I really liked the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters when those came out, but now I'm like, do this for those games.
Oh yeah, do that.
Keep remaking those games.
Do it. The other thing that was really cool about this, and we kind of took turns playing a little bit, but they did put in a lot of like things to make a really lengthy RPG feel a little bit, you could pick up the pace a little bit.
Snappy.
If you want.
Yes.
If you want, there's
And
like,
I do.
You do. There's like extra fast text. You can also make your characters
You can move
walk
really fast.
It was like zipping around like crazy, which was pretty cool. So there are ways for you to kind of pick up the pace a little bit if you need to.
Because I never think of Dragon Quest as a fast-paced game. It's very methodical.
Exactly. And
it has its own pace, and people enjoy that.
I like it.
And I wouldn't say that like they have sacrificed that, but there are some things that they thought it could be a little bit faster, and it is now, which I really appreciate.
All of these things are optional. So if you want, if you're somebody that
Make
really
it slower.
likes it, really
turn it down.
You can. It's optional. It's fine. But I know you're going to be like fast for everything.
Yeah.
And this is a game that you've never played this either, have you? Okay, so we both have never played this game. And we were chatting with some people, and a lot of people say that the story is incredible.
Like older Dragon Quest, again, like there's something about it that feels a bit too antiquated for me. But I know like people say like, oh yeah, the stories of these games are incredible. Like so I am excited to try this out.
Me too. So I'm super excited. Like they say there's like these story twists in here that's like gonna blow your mind. Like it's gonna be amazing.
Now
can't wait.
We played this on a PS5.
Yeah.
This game is also coming to Nintendo Switch. I have some questions now about how flawlessly this game is going to run on a Switch. Noting how good it looked on a PS5. I would love to play this game on a Switch.
But I think I'm going to play it on a PS5, honestly.
Really?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
It looks too good for me to compromise.
I need people to go into detail on this.
Weigh in, please. When I play RPGs, usually I like a handheld, for obvious reasons. But I was just so transfixed by how beautiful this game is. I think it deserves to be played on my giant screen. I'm going to do that.
Let's wait and find out before you make any big promises.
I want to do it.
Because who knows? I mean, the games like Octopath, those look great on a Switch. Maybe they can. Maybe it's all ado about nothing. I don't know.
PS5 version looked pretty good though.
You're not going to finish this game if it's on a PS5.
Why?
I'm telling you right now.
Extra fast text.
You're not. You're. Now I need to get a PlayStation Portal.
I do want a PlayStation Portal.
No, now you want one?
Yeah.
I thought you were off of that.
I think I'm back on.
Oh boy, you need the 30th anniversary one that costs $1 bajillion.
Can you get it for me?
Nope.
Oh man.
Nope. Sure can't. That was that. We also got to play. I played for the very first time.
Finally!
Monster Hunter Wilds.
After my yammering about how good it was for months.
And we played multiplayer, which was a first for.
Fun.
I don't think that had been available anywhere prior to that point.
Yeah.
So
we got
that
to
was
play
really fun. This game just continues to be incredibly impressive, like a really next genification of this series. The multiplayer battle was super fun. It was the same one that you had done before, that big bear looking thing. What's it called? Doshiguma? Or
Doshiguma, yes.
But it was you and I and then two other people on the other side.
Yeah.
That we had. You were using your dual blades.
My dual blades and my bow gun.
I was using the great sword, and I think I had some gun, some ranged weapon. I forget exactly what it was. I hit the wrong button in the menu, and I just chose the default loadout. I wish I could have chosen the lance or one of the other weapons that I actually like to use, but that was fine. Did definitely have a bit of a learning curve for me because there's a lot going on.
Deep menus.
And they have kind of rethought some of the menus of how to, making it easier for you to get to a potion or a whetstone in the heat of the battle.
Yeah.
But it was just a little bit different for me. I was like, whoa, wait, how
do I throw
do this?
A thing? How do I...
And then there's this big new mechanic about changing your weapons. You get 2 weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And you were saying you can only do that when you're on your mount.
Yes.
Which I didn't notice. I didn't realize that until we were done. Because I was like, how come every time I try and switch a weapon, I get on the mount?
Yeah, you can only do it when you get on the mount.
So that's an interesting idea. But the mount seems to be perpetually available. So
mount is very available and very quick to get on and off of.
There was a lot of chasing this thing around the map.
A lot of environmental stuff, too, that can make it feel a little chaotic. I'm sure
we ended up in that like electrical storm,
the sand trap.
Sand trap.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this game. There's definitely a lot going on. I continue to want to spend time like alone with it when it finally comes out. Because while there are some, things that made it a little bit more, hotkeys and whatever, this game is meant to be like crunchy. It's got a lot of menus. It's got a lot of depth. You kind of have to like figure out your way of playing the way that you like. And you can only do that when you have like time to do it.
Yeah.
So I just want to do that now because I've been playing it for so long.
After we took that thing down, they were like, oh, you have a couple minutes. You can just like explore freely. And that was actually really fun too, because you can get a sense for how rich the world is.
Yeah.
And there's kind of like all these other little ecosystems that are happening. These like packs of other creatures that are just out and about doing their thing.
Yeah.
They're just kind of always there.
It's a fun hangout game.
That's really nice. And yeah, it's just like seems like that area that you were in is so big and so detailed. Just really fun to be a part of.
Yeah, totally.
I thought it looked great. Thought it ran great. All the characters always looked kind of funny in Monster Hunter before.
These characters are like kind of hot.
Now they're kind of hot, which is great. Very detailed character creator up front, which again,
Calico creator.
It's like we're playing this demo on a timer. I just got it. That's why I was hammering that button to get to the game. I was like, we're gonna run out of time if I don't get through this menu.
I was like, oh, you need to go into the
I need to adjust the eyebrows of.
No, I wasn't doing that. There was presets, but you should put
customize my Palico. I'll do that later. Thank you very much.
So cute though, huh? They're the fur tech is very good in this game.
It is. So that game also now has a release date.
Yes, February 25th, I believe.
I think it was 20. It's late February.
Okay. Might
be the 28th. Late in the month.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games stacked up now.
There's a lot of games stacked in February now.
So it was this, Like a Dragon, Pirate, Yakuza. What was the other game?
Assassin's Creed got delayed.
That's right. Those 3 games are
like
a 2-week stretch. That sucks. Let's not think about
it right now. It's too hard.
Let's talk about Like a Dragon, Pirate, Yakuza, though.
Hey, you finally got the name right.
Because we played that, because I wrote it down.
Like a Dragon. Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Thank you.
You could not get the name right.
Strange name.
Yeah, but fun game.
Yeah, when this got announced, I wouldn't say I was super in right away on it. I like that they do these sorts of spin-off games. I don't mind that they reuse those environments. I think that's really smart, actually, to get the most out of them.
Totally.
I was wondering if this was going to veer a bit too far into the absurd with I'm a yo-ho-ho pirate just going around town.
Majima with his eye patch?
Doing stuff.
Of course. A pirate in Hawaii.
Because I don't mind that in some of the mini games because it's like, all right, we're taking a break from reality and we're in this filthy Animal Crossing cesspool, and we're doing that for like 30 minutes, and then we're leaving and we're going back to the real world. The stretch that we played felt like a bit more traditional Yakuza, where you're just out beating guys up and doing stuff. And it definitely had some pirate rapping to it. But it did not feel so out there, bizarro, weird that I couldn't relate to it.
Yeah, most of the time, you're not like in the full pirate outfit. You're really, you're really just seeing that. What's on like the sort of the main illustration of Goro Majima and like the full pirate, hat and coat and stuff. You're seeing that when you go into different stands. So it's more of like almost like a flashy way of doing that battle, but yeah, other than that, you're in that environment. It's really, really, similar. It's the same as the one from Yakuza 8. And I don't know. I thought the gameplay looked really cool though. Like you were playing, and the game was it's like super fast.
Yeah, so this is
super action.
This is real-time fighting, not turn-based. You're playing as Majima, and yeah, they seem to have just kind of sped everything up in terms of the combat. He's just really fast.
Yeah.
There's all this kind of aerial attacks that you can do now, where you can either air juggle people or jump up and kind of use that as a springing off point to do all of these other attacks. So it did just feel a lot faster than other real-time Yakuza games that I played. And then I could also switch to this other stance, which was basically the pirate stance, where you have 2 swords and a gun. So, you could just use the swords, but then every button, if you held the button down, would do a special attack. So the swords, you would throw them and they would do this boomerang attack. And they move very slow. And even while they were out there, I could still punch guys.
Okay.
So it felt like, I could really combo.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to throw this and that's going to deal with those guys over there. And then I'm going to go over here and punch this guy.
Yeah.
That seemed cool.
Mob control.
If you hold down triangle, it was you charge up. It's one of those pirate flintlock old-timey guns. You charge it up and do a really big shot with that. So that felt like a pretty different and fun stance. I'll be honest, sometimes in some of those games there's some stances I'm I'm
not
good.
switching that.
I'm good. I just like the normal stance, but these both felt pretty cool. In the base one, you do also have a lot of knives, which is his thing.
Yeah.
Using the knives.
You can also do that thing where you multiply him.
Oh yeah, how did I do that again?
There's a special, I think.
Okay.
But that's one of his things.
Right, his little doppelgangers.
Doppelgangers, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. So that was immediately in this demo, they throw you into a fight, and then they give you a bit of time to free roam, and I ended up in some bizarro fake Mario Kart mini game, which was pretty interesting.
That was great.
Just seemed like there was a lot that you could do.
Yeah, instead of shells, you're just throwing rocket launchers. You're rocket launching people.
Yeah.
With missiles. It's great.
So they've said that this is smaller than kind of, the big, mainline Like a Dragon games, a little bit bigger than the one that came out last year, which I think was 15 or so hours. So maybe this is 20 to 25 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know yet, is the full world of Honolulu available to you? Are they gating it off in some sort of a way? Is it just a shorter story? They haven't really said, but I thought it looked quite good and quite cool. So I had some early reservations, but I'm not so worried now.
It looks great.
Yeah.
I think it looks really cool.
You played two big level 5 games.
Yeah.
Starting with Professor Layton and the new world of Steam.
Yes.
These level 5 people were waving you in. Please, come.
They really wanted me to
play. They wanted you to play and not me. You.
I was like, okay. I was being
you couldn't say no.
I was being passed off from
you really couldn't say no.
person to the other, led into a line to play Professor Layton in Fantasy Life.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I've been keeping an eye on these 2 games, which has been, a long time coming. And we don't really get a lot of level 5 stuff in the West.
It just keeps getting delayed.
It keeps getting delayed. Yeah. So it was really nice to actually see a level 5 something and be able to get hands-on of these games. Professor Layton, I haven't played a Professor Layton game in quite some time, but it definitely feels very classic. It has this classic, Luke Layton relationship. There is a lot of traversal of this world. The world is obviously very beautiful and illustrated, and you're kind of doing that thing where you're kind of point and clicking around to find different puzzles, to talk to people, to traverse the area. The puzzles seemed properly hard. I felt embarrassed because it was hard to play this game in front of all these people, because you're are they going to think I'm going to
everybody gathered around to watch this.
It's very embarrassing.
The last Layton game was on 3DS.
There was one on...
There has not been one on... Has there been one on Switch?
They remade it, I think, for Switch.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think there's a new...
Because it's been a long time.
There was the Cottrell's... It's the girl version.
What was that on?
That was on Switch.
Oh, really?
But I didn't really like that.
Oh.
I want a classic Professor Layton. I want like the Curious Village.
How did that... I mean, is the Layton story just ongoing? I know very little about this series, so...
I think so. I think it's like standalone.
Okay.
Like it's like whatever mystery they're solving on
Layton's
whatever
just out
place.
there in these streets, yes. Okay.
In the streets, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, seems to be mostly what you were hoping for.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I want. I want, like, a new Layton story set in a new world. Give me the...
How about a new world of Steam?
Great.
Yeah.
Love Steam.
All right.
But yeah, it definitely feels very classic, and that's what I want. So that's good.
All right.
Yeah.
And then the last thing we played was Fantasy Life, The Girl Who Steals Time.
Yes. Why is it called that? I have no clue.
Fantasy Life is another game that I really liked, but I realize I have forgotten a lot about because it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. We played.
It was slowly coming back as I was watching you play. It's like, oh yeah, this is what you do in Fantasy Life.
We played so much Fantasy
did.
Life when we were working on the game.
Yeah.
Like,
there were a lot of people in the office who were way into this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like all of us, we played for like months and we would play together. It was really a fun time.
Yeah.
But the whole point of this game is that like you have like a million jobs that you can get changed to like learn different professions. One thing that I noticed right away when I was playing this game is that they do this thing where they auto switch your job.
So you had to do that manually before.
Yes.
There was some tedium in that game, I do remember.
There you go.
I do remember that.
So yeah, like I was like fighting. So it had me like classed, or my job was like a warrior or whatever. And then I walked up to a tree and I started to cut it down. And it was like, okay, you've now changed the woodcutter's job. So it was like real time letting you switch your jobs, which I think will cut down on some of the tedium.
Yeah.
But yeah, the game is, you know, you're exploring different worlds. You have these different jobs. You're like, you know, coupling those skills together to do stuff. Like it is really like there's a lot going on. There's a lot to do in this game. There's a tiny horse in this game. Very cute.
It looked nice.
It looked really nice.
You were in kind of like a very big
like
environment that you could explore.
Yeah.
Looked very appealing, I thought.
Yeah. This game got delayed, but
when's it coming out? We don't know,
I'm still very much looking forward to it.
Seems to be coming together slowly but steadily. Okay. Cool. I guess save it for next week. I did start playing Balatro/whatever. I don't know.
On your phone, though, yes?
Yes, I'm playing the mobile version. We'll talk about that more next week because I'm still in the very early parts and I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on. Let's move on to news. And by now, by the time this episode is out, I believe the Nintendo Museum will be open.
Opening day is the 2nd of October.
That's tomorrow.
So then, yes.
Yes. Wow. And while we were in Japan, people were there doing previews.
Right.
So Rogers Base, our good friend, he was one of the few people who got invited out.
Has a video up.
Has an extremely comprehensive
video
of what the museum
you guys
is.
Have to go watch that video.
I watched it. It's great.
I watched it too. It's great.
Strongly recommend it. Gave me a better sense of what it's all about. There are some other things that are in there beyond what was in the direct, but I wouldn't say there's anything like jaw-dropping, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't know about that.
Yes.
Seems to be mostly what you thought it was coming out of that direct.
I agree. I think that, you know, there was no like all the design documents and all the oral histories behind in this one room that they didn't show in the direct. And
it doesn't mean they can't add. I mean, they can add something.
Yeah.
It's their building. They can swap stuff in and out. Yeah. So who knows? One day in the future, maybe they will. But for now.
Yeah, but for now.
It sounds like the one thing that's interesting that they didn't know before was hardware prototypes.
Yes.
They do have some of those out there. That'd be cool to see. Mm-hmm. Merch. People are excited about giant pillows.
People want the giant pillows.
Dan Reichert brought a giant Nintendo 64 pillow across the world. Congratulations. Of course he would.
The giant Wii remote. Where is it?
Roger said he would deal with that later, but I'm sure it's been dealt with.
Maybe some sort of global shipping?
Roger, pop into the comments and tell us how you did it.
Yeah.
But as part of this Nintendo did have Shigeru Miyamoto doing a number of interviews with people, and he did have some interesting and notable quotes, as always. There were, it wasn't always pertaining to the museum. So let's see, what's the best order to do this in? So one of the things that he said was how the museum, part of the purpose of it is to help Nintendo train employees and help them kind of learn about what the essence of Nintendo is. I can definitely see that. I could even see that being for, in Kyoto specifically, like, as part of the first week training.
Onboarding.
Like, here you go. You're going to this museum. You're going to get this hammered into your head. This is what it's about.
You should.
Yeah,
why not?
We
had to go to all the different Nintendo facilities at NOA when we were training. This is a great place for them to learn about what is the Nintendo way,
Right. He said he wants people to go to the museum and think Nintendo is a company that is not related to rival game manufacturers that are usually said to use new cutting-edge technology. So about Nintendo thinking differently. Did confirm that at this time there is no plan to make other Nintendo museums in other locations since it has no business purpose. He said it's for employees first and foremost. I wonder if that is maybe a bit of an exaggeration because the majority of people who are going to be going to this are not employees. But again, helping to teach the public at large about Nintendo's philosophy and point of view, I think has a lot of value as well.
Yeah, for sure. And they want to teach you in a very specific way. They want you to come away with an impression of Nintendo in a specific way. And the museum is a very curated experience for them to do that.
Yes.
So yeah, I think if that is the purpose, then they are delivering on it.
Yes. Also, there was this one line about AI that was getting quoted a lot. It's good to read that in the full context. It might seem like we're just going in the opposite direction for the sake of going in the opposite direction, but it really is trying to find what makes Nintendo special. There's a lot of talk about AI, for example. When that happens, everyone starts to go in the same direction, but that's where Nintendo would rather go in a different direction. And we definitely saw that time and time again of not following a trend. And,
Blue ocean.
Frankly, looking down on people who are just blindly following trends or suggesting trends and really thinking about, for this company, for what we're good at, for what we want to accomplish, what is the proper direction for us to take.
Yeah.
And then there was some reflection about Mr. Yamauchi, who obviously Miyamoto worked a lot with in his early days. This is an interesting quote. Mr. Yamauchi back in the day would tell us that we are not good at fighting. We are weak. So don't go picking fights with other companies. And using that as another explanation point for why they, don't go into trends or don't go into busy marketplaces because they don't have the same resources to fight with a Sony or a Microsoft. They do have to be careful about going toe-to-toe with some of these companies in certain cases. So all of this makes sense to us. This all sounds like stuff that we heard again and again. So if this museum can help them accomplish that goal of please understand why we are the way we are, that feels like a valiant mission.
It does.
Will this accomplish that? We don't know. We'll find out.
Maybe a giant pillow will accomplish this.
That all it took was a giant Wii remote pillow.
All it took was a huge Wii remote.
Yes.
I do feel like just seeing this museum, reading this interview, looking at these quotes that are coming out, it's like literally nothing has changed. And doesn't seem like anything will.
Well, there's no need for it to change now, or they're just making money hand over fist.
There's no need for it to change. Nothing will change. It will be this is who the company is.
Yeah.
And they're not going to shake that up anytime soon. And these are all proof points of that, which I find to be one, reassuring because it's it's very constant for them, And then on the other hand, it's that's them again. It's like there's things that you kind of feel a little disappointed that they won't reveal to you or whatever.
Well, that's why sometimes, even on this podcast, people will say well, you say this, but you've been gone for, however many years now. Yeah. It's well, things don't change. Or things change extremely slowly.
They really don't change. Yeah. And also, there is this, Mr. Miyamoto says it here, there is this very strict, stringent, kind of program that you're put through as a Nintendo employee that just changes you down to your very core.
Right.
And I think no matter what, you will be living this philosophy, or you would live in understanding of this philosophy, probably for the rest of our lives, for better or worse.
Yeah.
Because they do a very good job of like kind of making you into that person, you know? So very interesting to see that kind of play out as this museum opens up. We both came away with this feeling really good about our decision to like kind of wait on going to this museum. Like we weren't feeling...
Well, we didn't really have a decision because we weren't there when it opened.
Well, but I mean, like we didn't feel like
we didn't feel regret.
Some type of regret or disappointment. Right. Like, oh no, like we've really missed out now. Who knows when we'll be able to get back to Japan. Yeah. Like we really didn't feel a sense of that at all.
I do still want to see it, but I'm fine to wait a little bit.
Exactly. Like we both felt like pretty good about that, which is good.
One big piece of news that dropped whilst we were gone was about Assassin's Creed Shadows, which, as we were alluding to, had gotten delayed to February 14th. It was set to come out in about a month from now in November, now coming out in February. They put out a very long statement, so I'll try and go through the key points here. This is an ambitious addition to the franchise, a rich experience that can be lived through the eyes of two unique protagonists, but we realize we need more time to polish and refine the experience, pushing further some of our key features. So they're moving it to February 14th. They are now going to be releasing it on consoles and Steam at the same time. That's a bit of a change of strategy for them. They had often been pushing out the Steam release a little bit after. Pre-orders will be refunded, and all future pre-orders will be granted the first expansion for free.
Oh, interesting.
So that's an interesting detail about refunding.
Why do they need to refund it? Like, it's gonna come out.
Do they need some new system of tracking who gets this expansion for free? So they kind of need to start off with that. I don't know.
That seems like a bad idea.
That felt very clunky to me. Of like,
it's like I need to.
You're really going.
You're canceling my pre-order to make me re-pre-order.
You want pre-orders. You had pre-orders. Now you're starting over. I don't completely get
tough.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what they're doing. There's been some other little things that have come out of like, the game really was not done. There have been a lot of talk about the other Ubisoft game, Star Wars Outlaws, about how that basically shipped unfinished. And now they are trying to catch up to get it finished, because a lot of people have been calling them out of like, this feature that you promised is not here, or there's stuff that feels a little bit half-baked. I've been enjoying that game, but I've felt that myself at times.
I see. Okay.
So now they've put out this very long roadmap for that game.
Oh, here we go.
But they've also said that it underperformed. So I think they're like, we can't have that happen again with a game, with our marquee franchise. We need to do everything. You thought the credits for this game were long before. I think it's all hands on deck to finish this game and make it as good as it can be.
The pressure that is
February
on this game at this point is really a little bit scary, honestly.
It is.
It feels like they're on like the thinnest ice possible.
It feels like this company could go poof if this game is not a hit. Because Ubisoft's just been having a really hard time business-wise and otherwise for the past several years, and these games are just not hitting like they used to.
Right.
And they're under a lot of pressure. And I think they're like, this has to work. We have to do everything that we can for this to work. Yeah. And we've kind of been a part of some of those conversations of what can everybody do to pitch in on this and make sure that this is not a failure.
And you absolutely feel that pressure when you're inside like that. But sometimes the pressure can cause you to make some really bad, clunky decisions. Like, I don't know why they canceled their presence at TGS. That's weird.
Yeah, they had some last second announcement.
They pulled their booth.
We've canceled what we were going to do at TGS. Like, that was the day before this news
came out.
I don't know exactly why they did that.
It's like, just because you delayed the game doesn't mean you need to stop showing the game. Like, the game is still coming out in mere months. And everyone knows how long it takes for people to get on board stuff nowadays, and like how long of a lead time you need to just constantly remind people that a game is coming, because everyone's attention span is so short.
Right.
So something feels really weird about this. I do get that sense that like they're just so under pressure to make this work, and it makes me worried for this game and for them.
Yeah.
This is a game that I'm very much looking forward to. So I really am. I'm like really rooting for them to make it work. But I'm nervous. You know?
Yeah, this is, we both really like Assassin's Creed. I've had kind of a weird feeling about this game since the beginning for whatever reason. So I don't know. I'm definitely going to get it. I definitely want to try it. But yeah, this has been a very rocky road for them. And it's about to get rockier because our next news story is they announced the new Ghost of Tsushima game, Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah.
You have to bet they were praying. Let us please release this game before they announce the next one of those. Please. And then basically the same week as this gets delayed, they announced this new one.
No!
So this was in the state of play that happened prior to TGS. Ghost of Yotei is the name of the game. Takes place a couple hundred years later than the original game. Takes place in a different part of Japan, in Hokkaido, which is up in the north. Saw a lot of kind of snowy, mountainy locales.
Absolutely beautiful.
Which is going to be great. Coming out next year, the video that they put out was very kind of vibey. Not a ton that we know in terms of mechanics or whatever, but
yeah. I mean, it's like that classic Ghost of Tsushima where there's so many things, petals falling, wind blowing, grass flowing.
Particles.
And your eyes just feel like they're going to pop out of their sockets.
Yeah.
There's a gorgeous, beautiful new horse that they showed. Sucker Punch.
Well,
I am begging you with every fiber of my being, please.
It's not tiny enough.
Do not kill this horse.
Make the horse tiny.
Do not do that. I swear.
There were also wolves in this trailer.
The wolves, I think I can be your friend.
You can control the wolves.
Oh man, don't let anything
Wolves
happen.
and horses.
Don't let anything happen to these horses or wolves. Please, I'm begging you, please. But the game looks fantastic.
We both really like Ghost of Tsushima a lot.
Yes.
And it did feel like, in many ways, kind of an evolutionary Assassin's Creed style of game. Yeah. So again, if you're Ubisoft, it's like, oh, this is the last thing we needed right now.
They didn't announce a launch. They just said coming 2025, but
that's the same year as their game. I know. Yeah, this is probably
gut wrench.
Second half of the year.
Gut wrench. Yeah, this
but still, it's going to be in the back of people's mind of like, do I want to get this game or do I want to get that game? They're very similar settings, very similar kind of gameplay in a lot of cases.
Yeah. True.
I'll play
very
both.
True. I'm going to play both.
I'll be glad to play both.
Give it to me. Just don't kill the horse. But yes, I feel for them, and I want both these games to be great. That's my concluding thought.
Yes. That's the news. Let's get on to some questions from our community. We get them all from our Patreon community. Look us up at patreon.com/Kit and Krysta. You can get exclusive content, early access, a wonderful Discord community, and more.
We did some fun behind the scenes, which is an exclusive perk for our 1UP Club and Up members from Japan.
From the Shinkansen.
On the train.
Wow.
So they're getting They're getting the good stuff,
And we also have some really cool stuff from those Bakeru developers that they signed that we're going to be giving away through Patreon soon. So check it out. First question today is from Zelgaroth. There were more names than I expected in the credits of Emio. Do you think Nintendo made money on this game or lost some?
I still think it's a relatively small team that worked on this. I mean, the game is obviously, just a much smaller experience than a AAA Nintendo title. So they probably don't need to recoup that much cost to make money on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think even in the best scenario, this was not going to be like a cash cow kind of game. So again, you go back to that thinking of like, what is the game's purpose?
Right.
Why does this game exist? Some games exist because like
to make money.
We're going to rake it in on this game.
Mario Kart 8.
In this case, I think it's more about serving an audience and having that audience feel very fulfilled on the Switch. And there may also be some other, kind of
softer things
behind the scenes stuff of Mr. Sakamoto kind of with his pet project as he gets older and older and nears retirement.
Yeah.
I think it probably broke even, or
Yeah,
maybe lost a small amount, maybe made a small amount.
I was gonna say maybe either broke even or made a small amount.
I think it's right around breaking even either way.
Yeah, I don't think it's inconsequential.
And I don't think they're sweating the details, because I think to them this game probably met their objective.
Yes.
And they did all that, all that experimentation they did with the marketing. They learned something valuable. They learned something valuable from that.
They did merch for this game. They really they are learning or finding other kinds of value from this that's beyond dollars.
Right.
Right. Or yens, I guess.
Banana bread slices next. Hi, Kit and Krysta. Do you ever still wear the free merch you got while working at Nintendo? I recall you got some very cool Mario-themed Puma sneakers, Animal Crossing outfits, Switch ski caps, and other random apparel. How much of it do you still wear? How much of it is sitting in a closet somewhere? And how much did you give away?
The really nice stuff, like the cool like collabs, I do really love that stuff still. My favorite thing ever is the Levi's Mario jacket that I have. I get so many compliments on that, especially around San Francisco, because Levi's is a San Francisco company. And every time I like walk by the Levi's store or just like walk down the street, people are like, "Oh my God, your jacket is so cool. You can't get that jacket now. It's like super limited." So I like really treasure that. Some of the stuff that we got, like some of the real like sort of, giveaway merch, like t-shirts that were given away at a trade show or beanies that we were handing out at an event. I don't think I wear those as much, but those partnerships that Nintendo did with those fashion brands and things like that, not the Moschino little purse that I have.
Oh yeah.
You
had to buy that though.
I bought that, but
there was some employee discount.
There was a discount
involved.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
I like those items. I think I will treasure forever because I really do love it.
Yeah, I like those Puma shoes. I still have all of those like in the box, like never worn, basically.
Are you sell it?
No, I'm just gonna hold on to that.
Okay.
I'm just gonna hold on to it.
I got a whole box of those, and I found one person in our friend group that was the right size, so I gave it all to him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was like,
oh my gosh.
I kept the one that fit me, and then everything else I was like, who is this size?
That's amazing.
I had to ask around, and then when I found that person, I was like, it's all yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do still have a lot of it. Some of it I wore so much that I wore it out, and it's just like, well, this is.
Oh no. Do you have a favorite?
I did have an Animal Crossing Puma shirt that I really liked. There was some of the Uniqlo stuff.
Yeah.
The early Uniqlo stuff, but frankly, that stuff doesn't last forever if you wear it. So it just kind of wears itself out.
Right.
So I don't have that anymore.
I liked you have a Levi's sweatshirt, I think, that I really like.
Yes. I do also have the Levi pants, the ridiculous pants that I've worn once.
Oh, with the pattern on it? Oh, you have those?
I know. I do know our Patreon subscriber Paul Gale has those pants as well.
Yeah. Oh, you should wear those more often.
They're not for every day, or maybe any days. I don't know. I'm still looking for the day to wear those.
TGAs? Yeah. No. All right.
I don't know.
All right.
Maybe you can give me some advice.
Okay. I don't remember even seeing you wear.
But yeah, I mean, also like now it's like. Do I want to be shilling Nintendo every single day? Like
I don't.
A lot of it's like I do enjoy wearing it, but it's like I do have a limit.
Yeah, now I barely wear anything.
Right.
I probably just wear that Levi's jacket.
Right.
And like that purse. That's pretty like the only two things that I like rotate into my outfits.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. I try not to wear too much merch.
We got Cerulean Dragon next. Hey, you two. Back when the Switch was launching, there was that infamous HD Rumble demo where you could feel the ice cubes in a glass. Since then, however, PlayStation 5's DualSense went all in on haptic rumble, and everyone is always wowed by how it feels. How do you think Nintendo feels about this? Do you think there's any bitterness at their HD Rumble being laughed off while a competitor's improvement is regularly celebrated? Why do you think HD Rumble has kind of fallen off over time where DualSense features continue to regularly be used? I think they're kind of in the same boat.
I think so too. I think they're in the gimmick zone.
Where there is the occasional first-party game that really takes advantage of it.
Sure.
And in this case, maybe the PS5 one is more fresh in our minds with Astrobot.
Astrobot, yeah.
But I feel like for most PS5 games, it's just normal vibration.
Yeah, I mean the PS5 DualSense controller is probably one of the best controllers ever right now.
Yeah.
For me, like you guys know I love this controller so much. I do think that some of these like very, nuanced features are very gimmicky though. It's like you're not really needing to do this to have fun playing this game. Just like how you really did not need to feel the ice cubes in the glass, because who cares? Does not really add that much to your experience.
I think for a lot of developers, it's just a bit too much extra work that they don't want to do. And if you're making a multi-platform game, it's like, well,
I'm not going to waste my time.
I literally
on this.
can't carry this over to any other platform, so why would I do it in the first place?
Exactly. I got so much other things to do.
So it does kind of remain a point of interest for first parties only. But even then, some of them don't care. Frankly, like vibration, if it doesn't have something unique, a lot of times I just turn it off these days. Yeah. Or I do like now that there's a wide, turn it down to like 5% vibration. I do like that.
Ours is too loud.
It's sometimes it's just too much and it's not really
I don't really need vibration.
Doing anything.
I liked it for Astrobot a lot, the haptics.
Yeah, and I think that did really add to the experience.
But that was a different kind. It wasn't just like vibration. No. It was like you could feel Astrobot's little footsteps.
That was 100% integrated into the game.
And integrated in such like
in a way that no other game is.
Yeah, and integrated in such like a smart and just like
I guarantee you there will be a feature on the Switch 2 that is just like this, where they're going to tout it like crazy, and then like there's going to be 2 games that use it at launch, and then we'll never hear from it again.
It's going to be like everybody switch 4.
The Gamic Zone.
It's going to be gamicky. It's going to be like you can feel 6 ice cubes before you can feel 5.
It's going to be something exactly like that.
You can blow into the thing, and now you can do whatever.
Hestu wants to know, can you give us any behind-the-scenes information about E3 2015 where Mr. Miyamoto, Mr. Iwata, and Reggie were turned into puppets?
You mean Nuppets?
How did this idea come to be? Who made the puppets? I'd love any info you have about this. You do have the info. I'm going to ask you to take it easy on it because we're going to do this big in a future story.
Yeah, they were actually called Nuppets, Nintendo Puppets, which was not my name.
You seem offended by this.
And it was very silly. Nintendo they love to put N's on anything. Insight.
Nindies.
Nindies.
Yeah. Ambassador.
Ambassador. Nuppets. Engage. Okay, I'll stop. But yeah, Jim Henson, the famous Jim Henson.
Was he Jim Henson or Jim Hansen?
Jim Henson of the Muppets made the Nuppets. It was for Star Fox. It was for the digital event.
Yeah, it was for the digital event.
And it was a very cool project to do that. And you know what? Mr. Miyamoto got such a kick out of it because he's a fellow creative.
Yes.
And, he loves anyone that is doing their craft in such a lighthearted, fun way. And like we talk about it a lot, he is very much like a kid at heart. And this is such like a fun project for him. So yeah, that's kind of how they came to be. We needed them for the digital event. It was this big idea to make these puppets, and yes, the great Jim Henson Company made it.
And it was coming on the heels of the previous digital event, which was a big hit and had all the robot chicken stuff. So I think it was like, well, what can we do that's kind of like this?
Yes.
It has this kind of unexpected, zany visual appeal to it.
Right.
And they landed on this, and this one didn't do as well, and then they stopped doing that altogether.
Yeah, they wanted like these interstitials. They like loved interstitials at the time. So,
Policy Pace has the next question. With the Switch 2 reveal possibly coming soon, I have a question about the original Switch reveal. The announcement for the reveal was a tweet with a somewhat strange photo of a Mario mascot hiding behind a curtain and sticking his head out. My question is, where the heck did that photo come from? It was hilarious and memorable, but I'm wondering how someone came up with that idea, and was it a random PR photo they found in a database or a new one specifically for that tweet? I think they took a new photo.
They did. This was very controversial.
Well, please share.
Yeah, the person that had this idea was the former head of social, not you. This person, commissioned a photo shoot for the Mario costume character in the office to go behind, like they basically staged the photo of the Mario costume character going behind the curtain, doing the thing. And it caused some concern actually, because of course Nintendo doesn't want to like not manage people's expectations. And this was too much in the zone of like speculation. What could it be? Too much of a tease for something as big as a console reveal. So it didn't go over too well. And then, of course, it got memed to oblivion. And people were kind of upset about it, honestly.
Well, here's the thing. With these big beats and moments like this, you always need more assets than you think you do.
Yeah.
And in this case, there was clearly no asset to pair with this news, and nobody wants to put out a tweet that has no image with it. Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, what can we do?
Yeah.
So, like, there's always some spreadsheet. It's like, well, okay, here's every single asset we need, every single sizing, every single use.
Yeah, it's really hard.
And I think in that case, they must have just missed out. Because why else otherwise would they be taking a last-second picture of Mario in the shower? You know?
Peeping Tom Mario.
Please, give me the asset to use. Please, tell me. What do you have it? Please give it to me. If not, I'm going to do this.
They didn't have it.
They'll be ready next time.
People were upset.
They'll be ready.
Because they didn't use like an official thing. And they took
what should they have used?
I'm not saying that they did anything wrong.
Racetrack logo.
Oh, how boring.
Yeah, boring. See? Nobody wants that.
So boring.
Again, they will be on top of this time.
That's true.
Yes. Won't happen again.
It won't happen again.
Last question from Tescu. Would you eat the Metroid Prime 2 promotional cookie? Images below.
Ew.
Did you eat the Nintendo Switch cookies when those were available during the tour events? We got a picture of that too, and you can buy it on eBay for $10. I'm really glad this is $10 and not like $1,000 because I threw a whole bunch of those away.
Me too. Don't eat those. It's so gross.
I did not eat those.
These never taste good.
Unnatural.
Because the stuff that you have to use to like put the image on is like fondant, basically.
They basically print on it.
And it tastes, I mean, it's completely fine to eat it, but it just does not taste good. And no, the Metroid cookie looks awful.
That's mold or something growing
There's
on
like
that.
bugs in it. I'm not eating that.
I wouldn't eat that.
You're very particular about what you eat. There's no way you're eating that.
Yeah, no. These are meant to be looked at and not really eaten.
This is just like
you can, but I wouldn't do it.
It's not going to taste good.
No.
Inside of that Switch cookie is like shortbread.
Take the $10 instead.
Yeah.
Versus eating it.
Yeah, don't eat it.
This Metroid, I'm very concerned about this Metroid cookie.
I think it's sprinkles, but it doesn't look good.
Okay.
It looks like disgusting.
But the fact that it has not devolved further in 20 years.
That's another thing.
It's like the Big Mac that just like looks exactly the same.
Yeah, because it's
That's
preservatives.
That's a tell.
Yeah, bad preservatives are in it.
No.
Oh, no, don't eat it.
Do not eat it. That's all the questions. Thanks, everybody.
Wow. Another great episode.
Another perfect episode.
Should we wrap it all up with some great shout outs?
Yes.
Okay, let's start with our final boss, Aaron Hash. I can point.
We're back.
We
missed Aaron Hash so much when we were in Japan.
Again.
But we are so back.
We're so back, and he's so great. Final boss. All right, here comes the superstars. Mara Mayhem.
Eigenverse.
Kiss My Flapjack.
Mike Chin.
Roy Eschke.
Switching it up _.
VGM Life.
Link, the hero, wins.
Angela Bycroft and her pig Molly.
Thomas O'Rourke.
Kyle LaBeouf.
Roberto Nieves.
Frederick Ulf Conradson.
Andrew Uhouse.
Chaley.
Simon.
Krishuri.
Master Discord.
Ash.
Ajay Kundalus.
And 40 Gig. Yay. And the One Up Club. Aaron Burgundy.
Ale Alejandro.
Astro Dev.
Awesome 46.
Dad Moon Horizon.
Bates.
Benji B.
Big N Gamer with a Y.
Book of Dano.
Brandon Cavapel.
Brent Dennison.
Brooke Obscura.
Rovak Novak.
Cameron.
Chelly Chadir.
Chelly Squirrel.
Sorry. Crispy Saurus.
Christopher Lay.
Captain Alex.
Crimcat.
Christabel.
C. Roper 17.
Dotson.
Doinko.
Elite Peach.
Espars 50.
Farpre 69.
Fairbound.
Fernie and Jess Forever.
Fox Deploy.
Garth the Wolf.
Gartooth.
Guilty Phoenix 42.
Handheld Gamer.
Happy Sloth.
I may have made a mistake.
In Space Khalil.
Iris Marin.
Jay Rando.
Jack Hoving.
Jameson Eisenberg.
Jeffrey Hernandez.
Joe Encarnacion.
Jonathan Rowe.
Jordan Collette.
Jordan Hammerly.
Joshua Clements.
Juji Fruit.
Justin Lemminger.
Kawa 2796.
Keith Kwan.
Kevin Delane.
Kilo Kipo.
Christopia Party With Me.
Kyle Gamer Barry Rookie.
Kyle Kretzer.
Lazy Cat for Coffee.
Lex.
Link 9898.
Lit.
Luigi 53.
Lynn.
Macho Potato.
Mad Dog 5981.
Magnificent Easy G plus Callie Marie.
Marky Man 64.
Mario Man 392.
Mecha Dragon 101.
Megan.
Michael Cravens.
Mikey.
Mr. Ryan 07.
Motomania.
Mr. Andy Pong.
Mr. Beans and Dip.
MSM Poke Gamer.
My Tran.
Nasir.
Nathan Burkhart.
Niaf E.
Ninja 11.
Bangy.
Patrice Millette.
Paul.
Paul Go Network.
Prime Factor.
Prince Charmless.
Reaver.
Brain Tech.
Random Bystander here.
Record Rumble.
Ryuji Utsuhu Okou.
Riot 1.
Rob.
Snozzle. Whoops.
Huh?
Wait.
You Romsky 113.
Rocks.
Rayonetta.
Sakura Sky.
Saul Dominguez.
Sharif Jackson.
Shinryu.
Schmiggles.
Slowbro.
Schnozzle.
Space Hoover.
Spicy Munchkin.
Steel Citron.
Pseudo Priest.
Tales of Link.
Tay 120 and 64.
Teal Fox 64.
The Kagers.
Shark Among Men.
Thomas Alvarez.
Three Rivers.
Timmy V.
Torcheeks.
Totally Joe Ed.
Travis Torline.
Chajowie.
Tugs Puppy Bear.
Tusku.
Tyler Geis.
Uncle Jungle.
Video Games Stupid.
Victor.
Vincent Van Butler.
Viridian.
Virtual Bot.
Weave Kingdom.
WG Grizzy.
Ayu.
Wicked Davy.
Will Johnson.
Zelgarel.
The Fatty.
And Zroid.
Uncle Jungle.
You seem to be experiencing some sort of maniac episode at the moment. What is going on?
I messed up. I really messed up.
Yeah,
you're
you're jumping around all over the place.
Snozzle went twice, now 3 times.
Hope to see this whole group in a few short weeks when we do our Super Mario Party Jamboree. Big virtual meetup.
20-player
playing these mini games. Well, there's I don't know if you've been following along. There are a couple asterisks with the 20-player detail.
What?
We may not have exactly 20 people.
What?
It's like if you're playing online, it's not. I don't think it's 20 people.
What?
But we can still do it. We will still do it.
That's
but maybe not with 20
That's
people.
how they sold me.
You got to read the fine print.
Nintendo.
Always read the fine print.
Why would you do that to me? That's not very nice. All right. Well, yes, please join us to play some Mario Party Jamboree. If you would like to join our Patreon, we are patreon.com/Kit and Krysta.
And if you're watching on video, you can please subscribe to this YouTube channel, give this video a thumbs up, and leave us a comment. And if you're listening on audio, you can also subscribe, give this podcast a 5-star rating, and leave a written review if you please.
And we're on the socials. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Threads.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yay. That's it. We're back from Japan. We're back in the studio. It's good to be back. What a great episode. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.